I'm so glad to be here. It's super important training today. We're going to do functional sentences, functional ways to explain your ideas. I'm not just going to teach you a grammar structure and teach you the name and then tell you to try and understand how to use it. We're actually going to learn how to use it. So I've invited some students into the Zoom room with me so you can see what it's like to take part on a working document and actually do these exercises together. So I've got one student in here and I've got another, and I'm just going to wait for them to join. And if I've got anybody, so I can only really have maximum, well, ideally 5 on the training, but maximum 10 in the classroom. So, so let me just see if we've got some people live, and we've got some people in the group. And awesome. Hey, Reham. So yes, we're doing that. We are doing the sentence training that we did in the academy on Tuesday morning. So and there were some students who said they wanted to join live. So anyway, never mind, that's fine. Today we are looking at some, so the people who've just joined me in the Zoom room, so Ibrahim and Shioni, just hang out, just stay with me while we do this very short presentation, and then we're going to do some exercises together. This is going to be a big, long, involved grammar lesson. This is just going to show you quickly and easily how to explain your ideas in 3 different sentence structures. I'm not even going to give you the names of these structures because that's going to confuse you. So let's have a look. Let's start. So I am a believer in functional language. Functional means you can use it, not just complex and we don't know how to use it. Functional means it has a function, it has a use. So it means we can use it. So we're going to do today 3 ways to explain your ideas using complex sentences without sounding robotic and overusing linking words. Now, the most common issue I see students have when they start writing, they start studying their IELTS essays, their task 2, and they're looking on YouTube and they're looking, oh, coherence and cohesion, oh, I need to use some linking words. And I had a student from Dubai, and she was brilliant, very advanced writing. But she said, yeah, but Joy, I thought we had to use 7 linking words every essay. And you certainly don't. Her writing was a really high standard, but she lowered the standard by adding these words all the time to illustrate, to exemplify, for example. And it made it sound very memorized and robotic and not natural at all. And so there is a place we do need to perhaps give an example. So perhaps we should use this just once in the paragraph maximum. And we don't even need to give examples in both body paragraphs. Your essay needs to be natural. It doesn't need to follow an exact formula. So I teach how to explain your ideas without using any transition signal. And we can do that in 3 sentence structures. And then after you explain your idea, you can then give an example. And then you can say, for example, for instance, I should have put for instance there as well. I'm just keeping an eye on my second screen to see if there are any questions. Hi, it's lovely to see you guys. Okay, so functional structures. We did this in the academy and I got some good feedback from it. This is the question that we did a couple of weeks ago in the academy. This is the question we're doing for training today. So the growing number of overweight people is putting a strain on the healthcare system. The best way to deal with this problem is to introduce more physical education classes in school. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Now, for this type of question, I strongly recommend that you fully agree or fully disagree. But actually in this question, we did a balanced approach. So we used a complex sentence in the introduction for this question. So the structure, after we've written our introduction, I'm not going to show you the introduction we wrote for this one, not today. The structure of our body paragraph. So we've written our introduction after we've done our mental planning. And then the framework or the structure. Remember, it's not a formula and it's not a mathematical equation. So there is variety. This structure, you can vary this structure, but you must always start with a topic sentence. You cannot vary the topic sentence. You have to start with a topic sentence. And if it's a to what extent essay, your topic sentence is going to be the main reason I believe that extra physical education classes are beneficial is because. So you always need a topic sentence. Then I recommend after the topic sentence, you explain your idea. So the topic sentence should be relatively general, and then we graduate from the general to the specific. So the topic sentence might be because it keeps children more active, and then you explain it here. Now, this is the general structure that I do in the free essay structure training for each question type. After you explain, you can then give an example. Now, here are some example phrases. Remember, we don't, I don't have the little cross here. We don't create false statistics, no fake statistics. We keep it general. So we say, to illustrate, it is well known that, but we don't say 37% of people, according to the London Times newspaper, we don't do that. That's memorized. So the examiners will take that mark, those words off your essay. So to give examples, we keep it general. To illustrate, it is well known that, for instance, the majority of, many studies have shown that. So we've got this have shown to show that it's recent. Or take X, for example, a good illustration of this is, or in fact. So this is how we introduce our examples. Now, you should only have 2 ideas per body paragraph maximum, okay? So, but you can have 1. Ideally, you should have 1. So if you have 1 idea, you have a topic sentence, you explain it, you give an example, and then you write a little paragraph summary. Therefore, or as a result, or consequently. But you might have 2 ideas, in which case you add an extra point and you introduce it with in addition, or secondly, or on top of that. And then you explain and give an example. But my point here is that you don't need to stick to this rigidly. We wrote an essay in the academy and sent it to an examiner, and we didn't have an example in one of the paragraphs. And it was between a band 8 and a band 9. I keep saying it was a band 8. He said he wasn't even sure why he couldn't give it a 9. Just maybe a couple of vocabulary things. So we wrote a very, very high quality essay, just 4 sentences. We had idea, explanation, and we didn't give an example. So if you don't have an example, you don't have to give an example, but you do have to explain your idea. So any questions so far? We're now going to do this, how to explain our ideas. Okay, all good so far? Type 1 functional sentence is by, and then ing, and then your result clause. This is like a cause and result sentence, and I'm going to show you. By raising, so we've got the by and ing, by raising awareness of the harm caused by foods which are high in unhealthy fats, and then we've got comma, so it's a 2-part sentence. People will be able to make better choices. So we've got the cause, and then we've got the result. And this is a great structure to use after your topic sentence. We're going to practice this in a minute. So that's type 1. Type 2, we've got when plus a dependent clause. Now, when you see this word clause, it doesn't matter if you don't know that word, but a clause is part of a sentence. So a clause has a subject, so I, you, he, she, or the gerund has a subject and a verb. And in some sentences, there are main clauses and little clauses. And a dependent clause is a little clause and it needs the main clause. So they need each other in the sentence. So we've got this when plus dependent clause. So let's have a look. When society understands the effects of unhealthy food, comma, people will be able to make better choices. So it's cause and result. And then sentence type number 3. We've got a negative, we've got without. So this is very the same. This is just cause and result. All these sentences are cause and result. Without plus noun clause. A noun could be just one word or a few words, but it's not a subject and a verb. It's not without we can't have a subject and a verb. I can't think of an example. So without plus noun clause and then result clause. So without awareness of the effects of unhealthy food, people will not be able to make informed choices. Now, this is a collocation, so we talk a lot about collocations. Collocations are words that naturally go together, and to get a band 7, the examiners don't focus on your individual vocabulary. They're looking more at your collocations, your words that go naturally together. So an informed choice means an educated choice or an educated decision. So we're going to do 2 questions, and in a minute I'm going to jump over to a Google document and I'd like you to tell me what sentences. Now, I know someone here is in the academy and she's watching. So we did this one question in the academy, but we've actually got 2, so we've got a new question that we're doing today. We are going to look at this question. We're going to look at this on a Google document, and then we've got another question as well. So in many cities, the construction of new houses and office buildings is not controlled. This leads to people building in whatever style they want without thinking about design. Do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? So it's interesting, and this is why I love teaching people from all over the world, because in some countries there's lots of controlled building, and in other countries there's no controlled building. So does anybody have, hi honey. So I was going to ask you if you have any synonyms for controlled controlled building. So controlled in this context means there are laws connected. Anyway, let's look at the planning that we did. So the advantages here of uncontrolled building. The advantages were freedom of expression, designs, and budget. People can build according to their budget. These are the advantages. Normally we only think of 2. I don't like brainstorming. I think brainstorming causes confusion and a loss of time. I think you need to train your mind to think of the most obvious reason. So disadvantages of uncontrolled building are loss of cultural identity. And then all these ideas were from the students. Health concerns with cheap materials. So actually the person who suggested health concerns said that there may not be enough windows or airflow. Therefore, it would be unhealthy for you, for your respiratory system. Okay, so we're going to jump over to a Google document. Any questions from anyone watching?
I got you.
Google Documents. And then lovely students in Zoom room with me. Is this big enough to see? So the people watching live on Facebook or YouTube, is this big enough for you to see? Because I can make it bigger. Okay, so students in the Zoom room, I am going to, it would be ideal if you're on a laptop, then you can actually do the editing on this. And I'm going to ask you to create these explanation sentences with me. So I'm going to put this document in the chat box. You're going to open the document on your laptop. I'm going to give you sharing permissions. And it's the funniest thing, because when you, maybe you're not on your laptops. Are you guys on your laptop? Are you able to open this document? Okay, so if you're not able to open it, that's fine. What you can, oh, someone is able to open it. Now, the students watching in Facebook group. Okay, so, hey, Mahmoud. I'll make it bigger, make it bigger, make it bigger, make it bigger. Okay. How's that, Amal? So Mahmoud, I put the Zoom link on a post above, and I can only really have five people in the Zoom room. If you can find that post, I'll let you in. So, oh, very quick. So we have got this question. In many cities, the construction of new offices and buildings is not controlled. This leads to people building in whatever style they want without thinking about design. Do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? These were our ideas. Now we're going to practice this. Now the person who's on the Google document, so the new students, do you need me to, I'm going to put this in the chat box. Okay. So the new students, see if you can open that on your... Now I've got one student writing here, but it doesn't look like you can open the document. You're probably on your mobile phones. And so then I'm going to rely, you can write the answers in the chat box, and then students watching on Facebook Live, we're going to make a sentence using without plus noun clause, and then a result clause. Now, I'm going to give you some synonyms for controlled building. Regulated. Okay, so controlled, regulated means it has laws. Regulations, without building regulations. So I've got no one on this document. In the chat box and in the Facebook Live, can you, anybody, suggest a sentence using this structure without plus noun clause, then a result clause? I'm just going to wait for you and see what you have. Me too, customization. It's not quite accurate. So in this situation, the controlled means there are laws about it.
Without controlling the building. I don't know. Can you hear me, Joy? Can you hear me?
I'm going to give you 1 more minute. And if I don't get any answers, I'm going to write one for you. So This one's a negative, so we're going to have to say, so we've got the noun. We can say without building regulations. What's the result? If there are no building regulations, what's the result? Oh, nice. So Mutaz, okay, let me write yours, Mutaz. Without any building regulations, what did you say? Countries will have become. Okay, so I'm going to put your sentence down. We'll just look at the grammar in it. Countries will have become poorly, nice collocation, poorly designed. We've just got a tense issue here. Okay. Without any building regulations, good, countries will have become poorly designed. Now, this here will have become, this is called the future perfect. And that's something that is a result before a time in the future. It's not actually 100% accurate here, but the will is accurate. So we just delete the have. And then probably become, we could probably choose a different verb here. Without any building regulations, countries will become poorly designed. I'll give you another possibility, are likely to. So we were looking at some phrases this morning in the Academy for future instead of will. So we can say are likely to become or will become. Mutaz, thank you very much. Without any building regulations. Now, what about sentence? The second type of the sentence. By plus ing. Now I'm going to put this above. I'm going to delete that. By plus ing plus the result. Okay. Any ideas for this sentence? Oh, I've got someone write it. It's so exciting when you start writing. By, good. Mitu, let me write yours down here. I'll write that afterwards, Mitu, or I'll give you feedback. Without building regulations, we couldn't help if issue arises in future from authorities. So Mitu, we're going to look at the structure. So you want the comma after the without a noun. Without building regulations, Mitu, comma, we will not be able to get help by building such unregulated buildings. Good. I don't know who's writing, but it's always fun to watch. The country. Yes, good, good, good. The country's overall, very nice. Look. Good. Let's just look at the questions again. Wonderful. So let me just, by building such unregulated buildings, great. Okay, the country's overall look, I'm going to ask you, we're going to think of a better word for look here. Would not be. Now, for this grammar, it's much better to use the present or future with will, but not would. It's not really a conditional sentence. So the would isn't great here. I'm going to delete that if that's okay. I'm just going to cross that out. Simply will, because it's more definite. Its results are definite. It doesn't depend on anything here. We use would when it depends on something else. So I'm going to suggest the appearance for look. Will not be appealing enough to tourists. I don't know if we need the enough there, but that's great. Well done, 100 points for trying that structure. And then let's try this last one, when. So I'm going to move this one above, and we're going to do the when. And anybody who's got the document can write, and you can write in the chat box as well. So we could say when, so we need a dependent clause. So we need a verb, a subject and a verb. When there are no regulations, or good, nice, when the government allows, good. Hey, Haifa. Great. Without building regulations, S. Because we mean all building regulations. So the infrastructure, and then you want a comma. The infrastructure of the city won't be organized. Good. So in your essay, in academic, we don't use a contraction. So we would have to say will not be. Without building regulations, the infrastructure of the city will not be organized. Very good. When the government allows the construction of such unstructured buildings, do you want to use a word like cultural heritage or identity loss or safety? Will be, who knows a good collocation with safety? Yeah, you can say the safety of the structure may be. If anyone knows the collocation that I've got in my mind. Okay, Assad. The different designs of the buildings may bring attention also by. Assad, that's nice, but please don't write like that in your essay. But that's nice for me to read, because we don't give personal examples in the essay. But it's interesting to read that, yeah, I've heard this before, especially from Middle Eastern students who say, yeah, Europe just looks the same. So I've got another person writing here. Look, number 5, when the government allows people to build without rules, good, the city will not be able to cope with overpopulation. Okay, number 5. Let me make a comment. First of all, number 5, there's a grammar problem here. Can you please identify this grammar problem here? And then I would say cities, talking about all cities, not the city. Okay, number 4. Number 4, I'm going to help you. So there is a great word that collocates with safety when it means safety is less or reduced. This word is compromised. The safety of the building may be compromised. So compromised with safety means that the safety is reduced. Great. Nice. Okay. Okay, so let's have a look up here. So number one was without any building regulations, countries are likely to become poorly designed. We could use another one. We could use a positive one. We could say without any building regulations, people will have more freedom of expression. So that could be another result. And then we've got by this one. By building such unregulated buildings, the country's overall appearance will not be appealing enough to tourists. I might even put may not here, and then scrolling down. When the government allows the construction of such unstructured buildings, the safety of the buildings is more likely to be compromised. Brilliant. Number 5, when the government allows cities. Okay, so I'm going to say here, number 5, cities will not, we're missing a word here. You can't say not able. You must say will not be able. So it is a common error with able that students forget the be able. Very good, very good. So how are we doing for time? We're going to do a completely different question, and we're going to think of some ideas for this question as well. So we're not going to do an introduction or anything. We're just going to practice these sentences. So government investment in the arts. So the arts is different to art. The arts is anything creative like dance, theatre, music, whereas art without S, without the art, is simply visual art, paintings or things like that. Government investment in the arts, such as music and theatre, is a waste of money. Governments must invest this money in public services instead. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So, students in the Zoom room, you can talk, you can take yourself off mute if you like. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? And then we need, remember, we fully agree or fully disagree, and then we need 2 reasons. So what are your reasons for this? First of all, do you agree or disagree? And then what are your reasons? And the first person to write, that's the idea we're going to choose.
I agree with this.
Haifa, good. When the government permits, Haifa, look, subject verb, when the government permits with S on the permits such unregulated buildings, comma, you need a comma. It will, not that will. We want subject, it will.
Concerning my opinion, I would say I personally agree.
Extinct is specific for animals or things which are alive. So not buildings. Okay. Okay, so you partially agree, person 1. Can you tell me your reason for one side and your reason for the other side? And can I get your ideas in Facebook? Me too, you agree. Nice idea. Okay, good. Money should be invested on healthcare system. Okay. I just need to keep checking my other screen and it's down. That's why I need to keep looking down. Hey, or I sent you the Zoom link or on your previous. Got 2 people writing in here. This is fun. Okay, so arts. So people need entertainment. This is one person's idea. Good. And then the second, we've got 2 people writing this box. The second person is saying arts that do not play a vital role in society. So stick with me. We're going to do this together. We're going to start with we're going to take this idea. Okay, we're going to take this idea here. People need entertainment. So why do people need entertainment? And then we can write the sentence. Why do people need entertainment? In the Facebook group, you tell me. Or the person who wrote that, you tell me. Okay.
To reduce stress on their
Yeah,
work.
Assad, in your essay, you should not mention personal examples. So I've done some essay structure training with a structure for how you give examples, and your example should be general. Your example should just say, for example, in Italy, all the houses look the same. We should never say, when I was in Italy, or when my father was in Italy. Oh, someone's writing already. Okay, so thank you very much, the person who wrote this. Without entertainment means, so not entertainment means, I'm going to change that for you, means of entertainment. That's the phrase. Without means of entertainment, people are more likely to suffer from. I'd like you to, so the person who's writing, for example, this is not about, for example. We are not doing any, for example. We're doing sentences without, for example. Good, thank you. This is how to explain your idea without using, for example. Suffer from. Now, I'd like everyone to avoid using this word some. It's often used slightly inaccurately. It's not very accurate in this situation. So, and it always sounds very basic. It's like saying big or a lot of, and we want to avoid these words in academic writing. So you could say a variety of. Okay, good. Good sentence. Without means of entertainment, people are more likely to suffer from a variety of psychological problems such as stress and depression. Nice. Okay, now, so that was people need entertainment. Now, the question was, governments must invest this money. Which money? Which money? Money from the arts. So we're going to use this by structure. Okay, by. Has anyone got a different word for investing or distributing or giving? A synonym for invest? Nice. Good. By allocating this money, simply this money, not this amount of. Let me see what the comments are in there. So arty, yeah, so for that structure without, you can simply say without access to the arts, life will become very monotonous for many people. Okay, so let's look at this what this person has just written. By allocating this money, so when we have allocate, preposition is always to or for, or even towards public services. The quality of people's life is more likely to be improved. But okay, so the grammar is perfect there. But in terms of the meaning, you might need to be more specific, because I would say that access to the arts, the quality of your life is improved. The quality of your life is great if you can. So I would say the quality of people's life is more likely to be improved practically, or you can say in terms of health and well-being. So or in terms of improved public services. So you would just have to be, when you make a general statement like improved, you would have to say how. It's like anytime you say better or important, these are two words, better or important. You should always say, explain how is it better? But your grammar there is perfect. But the actual, I would want you to say, how is it more likely to be improved? Okay, so then just going down, and then we've got this when sentence.
Joy, may I interfere,
so you
please?
can make any sentence here. You can say when people enjoy the arts, or you can say when people do not enjoy the arts. Ibrahim, you're having a difficulty with the ink, I see. So we're going to use when. Or you can say when more money is allocated to public services, society benefits in more ways than they do from the arts. You can make any sentence here with when. So Artie, two slightly inaccurate words there. So aligning, we wouldn't align, we would allocate money. Amal, you used alleviate. That's a great word. Back to Artie. So in healthcare, the economy will aggravate.
Asbar.
Aggregate? Aggravate means make you angry. Don't make me angry. So you need to check that word. Oh, look at this. When the government makes sure to subsidize certain vital sectors such as health and education, good. Society will reap the benefits. The chances to
promote the country's economy.
Artie, that's good. Without sources of entertainment. This is nice. When the government makes sure to subsidize certain vital sectors, such as the chances to promote the country's economy are higher. The grammar's fine. And then you'd need some sort of example after this. This is when you say, as an example, or to illustrate, or I even prefer using example after the subject. So, for instance, comma, good. Oh, look at this. By providing, yes. So we're doing two of the sentences, quality education. Okay, so this is great. So the chances to promote the country's economy are higher. So this is using the present simple, and then you're using future. For instance, by providing quality education to young learners, they will be capable of securing places in prestigious universities, or capable of making contributing, nice, to the
لا بنتي لك شي غير لا سميتو تهرسات راه خدامه راه كنكتب
professional workforce. Yes. Fantastic. I'd love to know who's writing. If you want to remain anonymous, that's fine. But if you want to say Hanan or Hanan? Great. So Hanan, you have written 2 examples of these sentences here. Number 1, you've said when.
هذا عندنا حبيبة.
And then you've talked about the result clause, and you've used the present simple, which is fantastic. And so we're not always using will. And then number 2, you've used the second structure by providing they will be capable, and then you've used a will result, be capable of. So that's great, contributing to the professional workforce. So those are our 3 structures. So we've got when, something else. And then we've got by plus ing plus the result clause. By allocating this money towards certain public services, comma, always remember the comma, the quality of people's life. We're going to change this to lives because it's plural. Lives is more likely to be improved. And then without means of entertainment, people are more likely to suffer from a variety of psychological problems such as stress and depression. So lessons today, we avoid the word some. Try not to use some. It's always used inaccurately. It doesn't usually suit an academic essay because it's not exact. Good. And then we use the structure with the present simple or the will or is likely to, but we don't use it with would. Okay, so we avoid would in this structure. This is not a conditional structure. Let me see. Okay, that's great. So I've got a graduator from the Academy today. So there is one space in the Zoom class. So I'm doing different levels of membership, and one level of membership is actually Zoom access, where we do 4 days a week in the Academy. I've enjoyed this training. If you have any questions, you can send me a message. I'm going to release my essay structure training that's going to help you give examples, give explanations, and how to write an introduction and conclusion for each essay type. To what extent, advantages, disadvantages, discuss both views. So look out for that. That's going to be a free training over 5 days. Great to see you. Any questions before I go? Wonderful. Hi, Priya. Okay, lovely. Thank you for joining me in the Zoom room, everyone. The document, I'll give you.